the things that you would do. For the longest time I've been out in my mind, trying to lose every single trace of you. But I know it's true that nothing, no, nothing, I said nothing comes close to you. No, nothing, no, nothing, I said nothing comes close to you. In a million days and in a million ways, I know this to be true, that nothing, no, nothing, I said nothing comes close to you. When I close my eyes now, like I got your smile going on repeat. You're the star of my movie, but now it's done, still stuck in my seat. Ain't getting off easy, like I'm doing time yet without parole. Got me flirting with disaster, but I'm all in, gotta go for gold. So tell me what to do.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, it does not matter who the host is. Welcome to the Rated R Safety Show. Today's Monday, April the 20th. Yeah, long pause for April the 20th, 420 of 2020, day 111 of the year, and day 255 remaining only for the year.
Duh.
So what are you doing today for this lovely 420 celebration? Are you celebrating? Are you doing anything special? Are you a recipient of a medical card? If that's your kind of gig, I don't know. I just ask the question. A lot of people are already reaching out to me today to talk about 420.
Duh.
And wanting to know how the celebration's going to go. I don't know. What are you doing? Are you celebrating? Are you having some good times? Are you being locked up, having some medical card delivery stuff going on? Anyways, before we start getting everything started, as we normally do here on the Rated R Safety Show, yes, we will bring you some feature story news, because that's what we got to do. So let's do it.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Some European countries are starting to ease lockdown measures. Germany is allowing the reopening of smaller shops, with authorities there saying the pandemic is under control and manageable. Lucy Hoff reports from Brussels.
Germany has joined other EU countries such as Austria and the Czech Republic in relaxing confinement measures, allowing non-essential shops under 800 square metres to reopen, with the wearing of face masks advised in public. The number of cases in Germany is high at over 135,000, but the pandemic is believed to be under control. Spain has extended its lockdown for a further 2 weeks, but from Monday next week, children will be allowed outside for fresh air, having been strictly confined since the middle of March. Lucy Hoff, Brussels.
Russia's seen a surge of more than 10,000 new coronavirus cases in the last 48 hours. It comes as Moscow prepares to enter the peak of the pandemic. Dan Ashby reports from Moscow.
More than 400 dead and now nearly 50,000 cases. The days of President Vladimir Putin saying coronavirus is under control are long gone. Moscow authorities warn this is the fortnight of peak morbidity, with kilometre-long ambulance queues and a scramble to create more beds. On Monday, one medical research company told us only a quarter of doctors say they have enough personal protective equipment, but the health department insists its doctors are fine. Either way, they and Russia are about to face their biggest test in a generation. Dan Ashby, Moscow.
Coronavirus cases in Japan have topped 10,000, mainly driven by younger patients. It comes just days after a state of emergency was expanded nationwide in an attempt to slow the spread of the virus. Ethiopia's introduced new regulations aimed at limiting the movement of cars. It hopes this will assist in combating COVID-19 by decongesting cities. The country is currently in a state of emergency. Coletta Wanjohi reports from Addis Ababa.
The new directives will affect cars owned by individuals for their private needs. It will be implemented based on the plate numbers of the cars. Those ending with even numbers and those ending with odd numbers will be allowed on the roads on alternate days. Some private vehicles offering essential services will be exempted from this. All cars will only be allowed to carry half their passenger capacity. Ethiopians are yet to fully embrace directives like safe distancing and mask wearing in public. The government has shut down pubs, schools, and banned public religious events. Most government institutions are now striving to switch to digital services.
In other news, at least 16 people have been killed in the deadliest mass shooting Canada has seen. The suspected gunman in Nova Scotia was dressed as a police officer and was killed in a confrontation with police. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well. So that's the news for today. Let's call it a day. Thank you for the time. Have a good one. Okay, just kidding. That's not true. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the world. Have you been taking a listen to what's going on over the weekend? Because that was kind of a fun part. Friday afternoon, if you were here paying attention to what's going on in the glorious state of Florida, some of the beaches in Jacksonville opened, and there seemed to be a small cluster of what was actually going on. So the fun part there is that some people are saying that it's fake news. That was a picture that was also used for some information that was actually going on in good old Los Angeles. So I don't know how true it is, but that's just some of the stuff that took place. Now, there are some people that have appeared in Florida from different states because of the beach being open. But before I get into my normal rhetoric, let's kind of get you into some of the information.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, you are listening to us on safetyfm.com or safetyfm.tv. You have the opportunity to watch me here. Yes, you have probably noticed if you are watching through the streamer, there are some different angling that are going on because we actually added some more junk up here for me to look at through the screen. So I do apologize about that. Did you see me kind of going, hey, what's going on? And some people did reference that there was no audio during the actual part of the news, so I apologize about that, but it should be corrected by now. If you did not actually hear it, we can actually get that back to you here in a few moments. Anyways, let's get you started from the very top of the hit list. As we already did discuss at the very beginning of the show, it is 420, so it is marijuana smoking day for some. Very exciting activities, edibles, depending on what you're into. I know we shouldn't be talking about that from a safety scenario unless you are a qualified medical card recipient, and that's a whole other thing there, depending on your state and how you look at it from the federal level, if you're in transportation and a whole other kind of stuff. So let's not get too deep into that. Anyways, let's talk about Amazon real quick. Amazon is slated to release the earnings for the first quarter at the end of the month. If current projections hold, the clock is showing that they will have about $73 billion with a B dollars in revenue, which works out to about $10,000 every second of every day, and a 22% increase year over year. Jeff Bezos is now securely the world's richest man. His net worth is nearly double of Warren Buffett's. That's a lot of money. Think about that for a moment, because when you think about, finances and stuff like that, Warren Buffett normally does come to mind. And don't get me wrong, not that Jeff Bezos was out of the conversation, but man, are you going to start looking now and go, wow, Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett lower down. The other portion is, think about it this way. Amazon started off being a bookstore. But essentially, when you're actually almost the only business that can get to everybody at the moment, it makes it pretty interesting on how that works out. But anyways, let's continue. At least 13 people have been killed during a shootout at a home, in Nova Scotia, in Canada. Officers began arriving after firearm complaints were called into the police. Inside the home were several casualties, according to one of the officers. The shooter, 51-year-old man, was eventually found and killed. No motive have been determined yet. Casualties include at least one police officer. So you have to think about it. there has been this grown frustration with everything that's going on, that people are starting to not do too well with some of the things that are happening, and understandably so. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, everything should be perfect and everything should be fine. But these are the extreme measures that we keep on talking about, that if you are suffering of depression and you are having suicidal thoughts, the suicide prevention hotline is one of the best things that you could probably get in contact with for the time being. And this kind of keep that in mind. And I know this is post, not going to do anything post, but let's continue to have these conversations, continue to be able to circulate that information to people in regards that there are numbers and people that are out there to be able to help you. So not trying to go post-mortem here, but just really wanting to have that conversation. In just 4 months, nearly all of the 22.8 million jobs created since the 2010 Great Recession have been wiped out. The Labor Department reports that 22 million have applied for unemployment benefits over the last month. An analyst by two leading economists indicate that the national unemployment rate is already at 20.2%, and that 21% of those who remain employed have reported a decrease in their earnings. Now, I will tell you, I have already had several people contact me and tell me that their companies have turned around and cut their pay because, of everything that's going on. Or, the people have been furloughed or laid off. But the cut in pay, it seems to be a little bit thing about being more common as of late. Now, if you're familiar with the PPP that is taking place for most businesses, you are not allowed to lay people off if you are going to qualify for it. But it does not say anything about really cutting. Well, as of this iteration, it doesn't really say anything about cutting pay. So that's something to keep in mind as we go forward with these things. So just think about that for a moment, okay?
Duh.
Anyways, the Center for Disease Control indicates that 0.02 cumulative hospitals rate for those infected with COVID-19. The number are drastically worse for those 65 and older, which is 0.063%, and slightly improved for those who are 50 to 64 years old at 0.32%. The Center of Disease Control reports that the typical numbers of hospitalization rates for 2019 to 2020 seasonal flus is 0.527% across all age demographic. Before the coronavirus outbreak, the United States was amidst the record seasonal flu numbers. So this has just added to the total cluster screw up of the whole thing. So you have to take a look at it and go, what is going on as we look forward to this? Now, I know there's some different camps that are out there that take a listen to the show, so that's a great thing about that. But what are you thinking? Are you thinking that right now we should actually be reopening part of the economy, as they like to say? Should people be able to leave their household? Or is it one of those things that you're taking a look at it and going, well, I look at this and I go, I'm not 100% sure what to do? Or are you in the state where you go, people are wrong and we should stay locked up? I mean, there's so many different things that are going on. I look at it and I keep on thinking about this, and I don't know what's right. I'll tell you, a week like last week here in downtown Orlando, there was probably about 100 protesters that were out there that were taking a listen, and they were actually taking a look, and they were actually complaining about what was going on about the part of the state, or Orange County, because that's the county that Orlando is located in, for it being closed. What are you seeing in your neck of the woods? Are you seeing something similar to that?
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Anywho, the Dow soared 704 points on Friday, closing at 24,242 points, amid growing optimism for plans to start reopening the state's economies. The political gridlock over the weekend sent futures down about 200 points on Sunday. So we're kind of back in that same state there. What are you thinking about this? What are you seeing as your assessment? As you take a look at this, what are you thinking that should take place going forward? Now, if you are in the chat box, you're more than welcome on jumping in, saying your information, and spreading it from there, because I always think it's important for us to know exactly what's going on. I take a look at this and go, it's interesting on what people think. And so what I say is, when you take a look at any news story or hear any news story, you need to vet the information. I'm so tired of hearing of people going, oh, yes, I know that this is correct because I heard it on Fox. I know this is correct because I heard it on MSNBC. I know this is correct because I heard it on CNN. And I'm not picking on any of those major networks, but you have to take a look at the information that's available and do your own research. It's so frustrating to hear some misinformation that's out there and people to easily confuse it with actual information that's true.
Duh.
Not saying anything to try to be sarcastic, just really trying to tell you the way it is, and that's the way it goes.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, don't know if you heard about this from Walmart. Here we go. Walmart will require all employees across the country to wear a face mask starting today. The policy had previously been optional, so that changed relatively quick. So I'm wondering how many retailers you're going to start seeing this in. I was talking to a friend of mine that's based out of New Mexico, and he was talking about that 90% of the people in the town that he lives in New Mexico are wearing face masks. Now, I will tell you, the more and more I hear about people wearing face masks, I think it's a great idea, don't get me wrong. But I can tell you, compliance rate does not seem to be very high, depending on where you're located. What are you seeing in your neck of the woods? If you're in an area, if you go out, because that's the other thing, that's the other portion, are you seeing a lot of people wearing the face mask? If not, what are you seeing? I would love to hear it. I would love to know. Because I think it's important. I think it's very, very important as we move forward with this. Anyways, I don't know. We've been talking about over the last few weeks that we were giving away some things for some people. So what I want to do right now is we were doing some ad giveaways. And we're going to break right here in the middle of the news to talk about this for a moment. So here was a couple of the winners for the ads. We're going to play two of them right now. So take a listen and tell me what you think.
Unlimited Safety Solution is your one-stop shop for everything safety and leadership. Our motto is, we don't think outside of the box because we're never in it. We are headquartered in Washington State, but can facilitate your needs anywhere in the U.S. as well as Canada. We have professionals that can help you with keynotes, deliver training, develop your leaders to reach higher than their potential in a variety of different disciplines such as safety, HR, quality, and corporate leadership. Tell us what you need, and we will give you a hand. Call 253-267-3444 or visit us at www.bestsafetyok.com for more information. Uncertainty and the unexpected are uncomfortable. And even though we are in the sea of it, you don't need to feel adrift. At Be Highly Reliable, we are all about strategies to better navigate the unknown and more efficiently recognize and respond to the unexpected. While our major focus has been healthcare, we love to teach anyone performing high-risk work the powerful, proven, and universal strategies of highly reliable organizations. If you love training that's fast, fun, and immediately actionable, connect with us at BeHighlyReliable.com. We love to make new friends.
So that was some of the contest winners. We'll have some more as we actually go out throughout the show. So that was something that we were able to give away. So thank you for the people that have participated in that contest. We will be announcing another contest relatively quick here. So be paying close attention to what comes up next.
Duh.
Anyways, let's go. Congress could approve funds to replenish the Paycheck Protection Program as early as mañana. If negotiations of late Sunday are successful, the House could take a vote today with sign-offs from the Senate as early as today. Yeah, today, tomorrow. I don't know. When these news stories come out, they're between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we're trying to take a look. So I'm assuming the signature will take place today, and we'll have it out by tomorrow, if all possible. If is expected to be another $300 billion with a B dollars allocated to keep workers employed, another $75 billion for hospitals, $50 billion for small businesses, disaster loans, and $25 billion for expanded testing. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has, held up the efforts to breathe more financial life into this program, demanding expanding funds for testing. But only a handful of Republican legislators have expressed opposition of such components. So what do you think here? Do you think that this is the right thing to try to throw this into a bill? Now, I know that this could become a political conversation right away, and we don't want to offend the people that are easily offended. Yeah. So we want to make sure that people are happy as they're taking a listen. But what do you think? I was talking to a guy over the weekend, which I thought was freaking hilarious. And he had a shitloads of things to say about how the Democrats were holding this up. And I think it's interesting on how, a lot of these things actually get earmarked regardless on how you take a look at it. And I know people get offended by me actually saying that, but that's perfectly fine. But if you look at a lot of these things that get pushed through the government, whichever side of the party you want to be on, you can be the left, be the right, be in the middle, be whatever the fuck you want to be. But at the same time, take a look at it and go, be realistic in realizing that these things are earmarked, period.
Duh.
Period. An Australian oversight committee will begin writing rules that require social media giants like Facebook and Google to share their revenues with certain media companies. Say what? The move had been in the works at the end of last year, and the social media giants and media companies were to negotiate terms of the agreement themselves. But amid the plunging advertising revenues in the last weeks due to the pandemic, the Australian Competition, and Consumer Commission will write the rules for them. So what do you think? Do you think that this revenue should be shared? Do you think that it's something that's fair for that to take place? Or do you look at it and go, no, that should not be a shared item. That should be one of those things where we go, hey, no, these people are the ones that are writing it. Because I think it's still kind of funny if you take a look at some of these social media aspects. If I am a paparazzi member and I take a picture of you and you are a famous actor or actress, musician, whatever you want to call yourself, and I post it, it's fine. But if you post it, I can sue you. I think that's a little crazy. I just think that it's out of the ordinary that you should be able to do that. But what do I know?
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, Los Angeles Suicide Hotline has seen an unprecedented spike in activity over the last 2 months in an area that has not been hit as hard by the coronavirus as it could have. In February, 70 full-time staff and 215 volunteers took 22 calls on their helplines. In March, here we go, they took 1,800. That's an increase of 8,000%. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Economic Research reports that 1% increase in the unemployment rate leads to a 3.3% increase in drug overdose deaths and a 0.99 increase in suicides. The St. Louis Federal Reserve estimates that 32% of unemployment before the economic recovery begins, which would translate to 77,000 some deaths. The most recent coronavirus death tolls estimates somewhere in the United States about 60,400 through August. I want to say the numbers earlier this morning, if I remember correctly, it was either 40,000 or 45,000. Yes, there is a huge gap between 40 and 45,000. But the more that you look into this, the more that it gets interesting on how this is going to work. Now, as you're able to do research and take a look into some of these things that are out there, what do you keep on looking at? Does it make sense to let people go roam the streets again? Is it okay? Or do we hold back? Do we take a look at it and go, don't do it yet? Now, if you take a look at the 1918 Spanish flu, and if you look at some of the places in the U.S. in particular, let's use Colorado as an example, it was during the second wave that they had the most amount of deaths. Now, this is not a scare tactic. This is just information that's available online for you to actually vet yourself as I share this information with you. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, let's talk about the lottery quick. No winners for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tuesday's drawing will be for a $164 million jackpot or $133.8 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing either. Wednesday's drawing will be for $29 million jackpot or $23.8 million cash payout. I would normally talk about the weekend box office, but you know it already. There is no numbers for the weekend box office, but I want to talk about this real quick. AMC is trying to sell their debt. And if they're able to sell their debt, they say that they should be able to continue on for a little bit longer. Cinemark, which is another pretty big movie chain, is trying to sell about $250 million worth their debt and say that they should be able to continue on. Now, I'm not trying to pick on the movie theater chains right now, but I want you to take a look and take a listen and think about this for a moment. If you were considering purchasing their debt, and I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, so please understand this. If they are to fold, what would you get in return? Are you getting the movie theater? Are you getting the brand? What are you getting? Because aren't most of these movie theaters rented out? I don't know. I take a look at it and I go, what's going on? Why would I want to buy the debt? But I know right now people are trying to do whatever they can to make money, to have money, to continue on. And I look at it and I find it extremely interesting. Another news story that I read right before I came on, wasn't able to get a lot of information, but Shake Shack was offered $10 million as part of the PPP that we were discussing a little bit earlier right now, that's going to potentially be refunded. And they have returned the money. They have essentially turned down the loan or part of the program, not realizing that $10 million was not really for organizations their size because they're a publicly traded company. They said that they have probably about $75 million that they should be able to get from investors. The other portion that they referenced right away was that what happens to Joe's repair shop, shoe repair shop from down the road? What happens to dry cleaner, blah, blah, blah? What happens to Sally hairdresser down the road? Are they going to be able to qualify for these things? Because it's the mom and pop shops that should be actually applying for these. So they took it from the standpoint that they were going to change and just return the money. Did they do the right thing? I don't know. It's a matter of opinion. I'll tell you this, though. Regardless of what they decide to do or what they have decided to do, what they have just got in media and in advertisement, definitely over $10 million. That's for sure. Now, I don't know what their setup is currently. I don't know if they're selling packaged foods or how they're doing it, because you can't go into a restaurant as we speak right now. I mean, talking about burger places, and not that I'm comparing Shake Shack to McDonald's by any means, but like McDonald's is limited menu if you go there as we speak right now. So what are you thinking? Does that make sense? Or do you look at it and go, no, it doesn't make sense. They should have just taken the money and ran. I don't know. I don't know what makes the most logical sense. I just keep on thinking about it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So anyways, on Friday, I left you with the cliffhanger. Oh, yeah, the cliffhanger. Where we were talking about that there was actually a few people that had, well, not a few. There had been an organization that had reached out to me about a conference that they have planned later in the year. And they reached out and said, good afternoon. In light of the current pandemic, we are reevaluating our annual safety, we'll say conference, as right now we are still planning on holding our conference as scheduled. However, the safety and health of our attendees, speakers, exhibitors, staff, and volunteers is the utmost important. We are in contact with the hotel and all vendors associated to the event. We plan to make a definite decision of the fate of the event by the end of May. We recommend that you hold off all and any travel arrangements until that time. We appreciate you. While we assess this situation, thank you for what you and your listeners at Safety FM do. Be safe. Now, I will tell you right out of the bat, this is not the organization that people say that I've been talking about. This is a different organization. I do appreciate them reaching out to me, to share the information and talk to our audience, our friends, the most important part of Safety FM, about what their plan is. Now, this email did come from one of their directors, so I do appreciate them reaching out. But I look at it and I go, there's still some other safety events that are going on that are right around the corner, scheduled. Now, the interesting part with some of the safety events that are going on, tomorrow on the Jay Allen Show, yeah, that's definitely a plug.
Duh.
I have a board member from an organization come on and talk about what he feels should happen with any safety conference or safety event that's going on. And he gives his own perspective of that. So make sure that if you do get a chance, take a listen tomorrow. It drops at 3 a.m. Eastern time. And that'll be on the Jay Allen Show. There will be a promo that will come out at some point later today, and we will be posting that on our different social media platforms. And don't worry, if you are a friend of ours on Patreon, you can have the whole full unedited version of the podcast.
Duh.
Or the show, however you want to look at it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after that, because that's pretty interesting. So anyways, what do you have going on today for 420? Anything kind of fun after this? I mean, I know some people said that they can't do anything because they're working. You know, you should not be actually out and about and doing anything crazy, of course. But also I take a look at it and I go, with the things that are going on in the world, what do you think you should be doing today? Is this a good day to be doing some of the craziness that you would normally do on 420? Of course, from a legal perspective.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, Rated R Safety Show. You know how it goes. You know how it goes, baby. Anyways, days of the year that you can celebrate today. National Cheddar Fry Days. National Lima Bean Respect Day. Whoever would respect a lima bean really has some issues to look into. National Look Alike Day. I don't know who the hell I look like. I think I look like myself at the moment. National Pineapple Upside Down Cake Day. And of course, National 420 Celebration Day. So what do you have going on? Anything cool? Loud in perspective? Anything out of the ordinary? Well, today, just in case if you didn't know, these were some dates of some people that were born today. Luther Vandross was born in 1951. Also born today, in 1889, Adolf Hitler. Did you know that? Did you also know that over the weekend was the anniversary of the event that occurred in Waco, Texas, back in 1993? Also, the anniversary of what occurred in Oklahoma City. Not glamorizing either one of those events, but did you realize that it was the anniversary for both? Just something to think about. I was talking to some people over the weekend. Don't let a TV show glamorize the events that took place on both events. Look at documentations, look at different things that are available about both events, because it is available, but you have to do research. I have to tell you, some of the best things in life are not spoon-fed. You have to go look on your own. And I know sometimes people have a hard time with that, but it makes it more significant in the long run.
Duh.
Anyways, also some birthdays for today, just so for purposes here. Carmen Electra was born today. That's some good times there. She was very popular back in, late 90s, early 2000s. George Takei. He's 83 today. Anyways, Carmen Electra is 48. Did you know that? 48. Killer Mike the rapper, he turns 45 today, just for purposes for you to know that. Anyways, some changes will be going on Safety FM, just so you know, as the radio station overall. Starting May the 1st, we're going to be doing some changes to the station. Just so you know, we're going to be talking about that a little bit more the closer we get to those dates. So just take a listen to what's going on there. We'll have some more information on the website. Now let me give you a little bit more of some of our contest winners, and I'll give you 2 more right here.
During these challenging times, it is important to maintain focus on all industry risk. Unfortunately, slips, trips, and falls continue to be significant risks in the workplace and at home. Training in Inviodine Slip Simulator has proven to reduce the risk of slips, trips, and falls by up to 70% through innovative hazard awareness that is also lots of fun. Search Slip Simulator or visit Inviodine.com for more information on purchase, lease, or to schedule on Slip Simulator training. We can work together to improve safety at your workplace. Avatar Management Services exists to make the world a safer place. And in the wake of COVID-19, they can help you conduct your essential safety training. Avatar is offering you a free 60-day access to their learning management system. With their LMS, your training will be mobile-friendly and easy to upload. For more information, call Avatar Management Services at 330-963-3900 or visit their website at avatarms.com.
So that's about 4 right there for you to take a listen to. So hopefully you did enjoy those. Anyways, I thought it was kind of funny. Before I jumped on the show today, I was talking to my lawyer, and he had some concerns about some of the things that I say to people. Just waving just in case you're watching on the video, because you told me that you normally watch the video feed. So I just want to say hello. Appreciate the phone call before the show. Anyway, so I always think that that's kind of fun times when I get calls like that about some of the concerns of some of the things that I say to people. I'm not that offensive. Are you offended? I don't think you're offended. Should you be offended? I don't know.
Duh.
Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show. I might hang out after this. We'll take a look here after this. We're going to let the radio station people go here in the next few moments. So I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.